The year is winding down, but that doesn't mean that we are done with the updates for Madden 21. Oh no, the most updated Madden of all time still has more to come. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking, why would they still be updating the game? It's almost May. Well, if you look at what they've done the past 2 years, they have actually updated the game into mid-April, but you also have to take into account that this year's game actually launched a month later than it normally does. The previous few games launched at the end of July, whereas this year the game didn't come out till the end of August. So it does make sense for them to have one more update either at the end of April or at the beginning of May, because that would line up with what they've done the past couple of years. And God knows Madden 21 needs more updates if there ever was a game that needed updates. I see a lot of people saying, why are they even still bothering to update the game? Just work on 22. Well, the thing is, there's still a lot of people that are playing 21. Yes, there are people out there that actually do still play the game, and they want the game to be in the best state possible. So I don't mind them continuing to update the game so long as they're not taking too much attention away from making the next game hopefully better. Now, when will the update drop? Well, this is very interesting because if you notice what EA does, when you want to know when an update's going to drop, it's always good to look towards the competitive scene. When is the next competitive tournament? Because one thing EA loves to do is drop an update right before a big tournament, and the biggest tournament of the year, the Madden Bowl, is set to start on April 25th. Which literally means either we're going to get this last update tomorrow or Wednesday, because usually they update the game in the first few days of the week, or they're going to wait till the end of that tournament, which it does end on May 4th, meaning within that week following May 4th, we could see the last update. Now, typically in the past, they have actually dropped the updates right before the tournament, and I think the big reason they do this is because whatever big bugs are still left in the game that they can potentially fix, I think they like to get those fixed before the tournaments because they know there's going to be extra eyes on the game when the tournaments are live between both fans and the NFL. So if they can clean up some more stuff and get some of those issues out of the game, it's going to look a little bit better on them. Now, the competitors don't like this, of course, because it could completely change how the game is currently playing days before they're in a big tournament competing for a lot of money. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this update drop tomorrow or Wednesday, but if they do the right thing and actually wait, then it'll probably be the first or second week of May. Now, what are they actually going to be updating? Well, one of the biggest things right now that people have been complaining about that I'm seeing in my comments section every day, it's not gameplay related. We will get to the gameplay stuff in a minute, but one of the biggest non-gameplay related things is the file sharing is currently broken. Now, if you remember, this same thing happened around this time last year. For some reason, the same issues always pop up with Madden year in and year out. Don't understand why or how, but they do. Last year around this time, file sharing was broken. You couldn't download updated rosters or playbooks or any of that stuff, and it was right before the NFL draft, and people were mad because what happens around the time of the NFL draft? People like to update their rosters on the game, specifically people that play offline and in franchise mode. They want to download the new rosters that have all of the free agent moves, that have the new rookies on their teams, because there's a number of people that do custom rosters and then upload them to the file sharing where anybody can download it. Now, when this was broken, of course, people are going to start talking conspiracy and saying, is EA doing this on purpose because they don't want us to get updated rosters? Because let's be honest, the majority of people don't want to take the time to update the rosters themselves, so the few people that are kind enough to do it kind of serve the rest of the community. Now, a lot of people say, well, EA knowing this, they're going to leave it broken to give you a reason to have to buy the next year's game. Now, I don't quite think that's exactly what was going on, but nonetheless, they did fix it before the draft, I believe, and then people were able to download the updated rosters. Well, here we are again this year, and we're having the same problem. I myself have been trying to download a roster because there was a video that I wanted to make, and I can't seem to do it. It's not working, and I've been seeing tons of people complain about this. So maybe they'll get it fixed before the draft if they do it within the next few days, but if they wait till May, it's going to be slightly after the draft. But as long as they get that in there and fixed before, the next month or so, I think people will be okay. They'll be able to download, update their rosters, and start new franchises, which is what they want to do. But if they don't get this fixed, you can expect a lot of backlash, because after the year that Madden 21 was, with so many issues and problems, so much backlash already, you don't want to give people something else to throw on top of that. So the file sharing, I believe it will be fixed very soon. If not, EA, look out. So now let's talk about some gameplay stuff. Now during this time of the year last year, we started to see a lot of things happen with abilities. You've got people trying new abilities, finding new broken things with abilities because other ones have been patched or tweaked. We've seen people move away from certain abilities because EA has gone in and done their tweaking and changed things up. So now we're starting to see a lot of other abilities that still aren't working properly or that are just too overpowered to begin with. One of those abilities right now is the El Toro pass rushing ability. This is similar to Power Specialist from last year, which was super overpowered in Madden 20. This year at the beginning of the year, the El Toro ability was pretty powerful, but I don't think a lot of people used it because the way they were constructing their teams, they chose to go with some other abilities instead. Well, now that some of those abilities have been changed, people have gone back to El Toro, and we're seeing these bull rushers just dominate offensive lines. I'm talking 99 overall offensive linemen routinely just getting thrown to the ground by a pass rusher with this El Toro Power Specialist like ability. Something that has completely changed the dynamic of the game, so something that they'll probably be looking to fix with the next update. But this is not the only one. There's certain route abilities for wide receivers and certain throwing abilities for QBs that simply are performing how they're not supposed to. They're activating on everything. For example, there's a certain route ability that basically gives you extra aggressive catching anywhere on the field and better catching when you have this ability when it's only supposed to work on a certain part of the field. If it's supposed to work on the deep outside, it's also working in the deep middle or the medium middle of the field where it's not supposed to. There's certain QB abilities that's supposed to give you perfect pass accuracy in a certain spot of the field, but it's giving you perfect pass accuracy all over the field, even when you're on the run. So these are a number of things with abilities that do need tweaking and fixing, and around this time last year, they did come in with that last update of the year and tweak the final last few abilities that were still not performing correctly. So I would expect that to be done again this year to help preserve the life of the game for the next few months until Madden 22 comes out. Now, another thing that goes along with this is stamina. Now, stamina as a whole has been a little bit more harsh in certain situations this year, but most recently because of people changing up their abilities and more people using Deflator, which is a hit sticking ability that causes you to pretty much drain your stamina when they lay a hit stick on you. A lot of people have been loading up with these type of abilities on their team, and it's causing offensive players to just lose stamina, and it's a thing that drags out. You don't get your stamina back very quickly, and it just seems like it's not quite that balanced. So this kind of goes along with abilities. I could see maybe an adjustment being made here because it has been a big complaint and something that they've acknowledged that they're looking into. Another big thing we've seen after the last update is more dropped passes and interceptions. Now, interceptions are kind of always one of those things that get dropped often, but dropped offensive passes have been really, really bad as of late. Now, we've seen them be bad, in the past. All the time. People drop passes for literally anything. This year as a whole, I feel like they were pretty decent. We didn't see too many ridiculous drop passes, but as of late, it has been some of the worst I've ever seen, specifically on possession catches. I mean, the ball is just bouncing off of people. We've seen it happen a bunch of times in the last round of the competitive scene. We saw so many drop passes. We saw passes bouncing off of players' hands and then into other players' hands. So I do think this is a big area they would look to fix, and this might be something that they would want to fix before this last tournament goes into play, because if not, we're going to see a lot of drop passes. It's going to screw a lot of people out of money potentially. So I think this is an area that the pro players actually would like to see the game fixed. The only problem is if they put in a patch or update, it's likely going to mess with other things in the game. So it's kind of a catch-22, but this is a big thing taking over the game right now that does need to be looked into. Another big one that's been in the game all year, but it's getting worse as of late, is the trucking glitch. You might have seen this on multiple YouTube videos already or watching people stream. You'll notice that when people catch the ball, their first immediate reaction is to truck the air, to use the truck stick to lunge your body forward, even if you're not actually trying to truck anybody, because certain ball carriers get this like speed boost of a truck animation where it literally brings them up the field super quickly. Not only that though, but it kind of dumbs out your defense and it makes them take like a slight pause, because when you're using the truck stick, typically you are trucking a defender, and as you know, Madden is a very animation dependent game. So when you are trucking a defender, a lot of the other guys standing around on the field in that moment, they don't have anything to do, because if the truck animation is playing out with a defender, the rest of those defenders standing around, the game almost tells them like, hey, you kind of have to pause for a second because we're carrying out this animation right here. Well, when you truck the air, the defenders standing around on the field still go through that same motion where they have have that slight pause and they kind of dumb out. And this is another thing that's been in the game for at least 3 or 4 years now. They'll fix it and then it comes back, which is why I think they never truly go in and fix things, but they band-aid it for that year, because every single year we see the same 10 or so issues pop back up like clockwork. And this year it's worse than ever because you're actually getting more of a speed boost when you do this truck glitch. Well, now there's another way that people have been using it, and they use it when they throw table routes to the halfback. And this is extremely powerful. When you throw a quick little table route flat pass to your halfback and immediately truck up the field, you just see the glitchiest animations. Like, he will take the ball from the flat and literally just like speed boost forward 5 to 10 yards literally while the team dumbs out around him. If I have some clips, I will put them up on the screen. I'm going to try to find a couple clips to show you if you haven't seen it, but this is something that definitely needs addressing and something I definitely would expect them to address with the last update. And then you got zone coverage and zone drops. I talked about this when I talked about the last update that actually was released. I said that I don't know if it was intentional, but zone coverage and zone drops got way worse after the last update. They tried to nerf man defense, which they did a tad, but it seemed like along with that, zone coverage went to trash, especially zone drops. The zone drop adjustments are not getting out to the sidelines nearly as good. They're not dropping back nearly as fast, and I'm seeing more and more passes completing on the sidelines than I have all year because those zone drops can't get back there, and the deep zones just seem to get worse and worse with every update. They don't actually play the boundary aggressive at all, and now it seems like zone defense, while it has become more popular lately to do all-out zone, certain zone drops and certain deep zones on the sideline just play very, very poor. So this is an area I could see them potentially tweaking as well. Now, another thing of interest that they didn't do this year, I don't know that they'll actually do it, but I'm just throwing it in here because it was one of the things they were supposed to do for franchise mode, and that was updating the Super Bowl celebration. It was something they said they were going to refresh, and they didn't do it. Likely they're just going to save this for Madden 22 because they're doing a lot of different things with franchise mode for Madden 22. In fact, I will link a video below that I just recently did going over 5 big things that EA said they're going to be doing for franchise in Madden 22. I didn't list this in that video, but this is on the smaller end of things in my opinion, so it was supposed to be done this year. I don't think they would add it this late in the year. It is possible. Don't think they'll do it though. They'll probably save this for Madden 22 along with updating playbooks and X Factor and superstar abilities. People keep asking me about this pretty often too. Look, I don't think they're updating it no more this year. I've talked about it for months. We're about to hit May. I don't think they're going to do any playbook updates or superstar updates this late in the year because I think the superstar and X Factor updates, that kind of goes out the window once they stop updating the rosters especially. And playbooks, it's just like, what's the point in updating playbooks at the end of April or the beginning of May when people are only going to be on the game for another 2 months? If anything, just save it for Madden 22 and have it be another reason for people to go out and buy that game. Say, hey, we know we kind of let you down with this last year, but we put it all here for Madden 22. I think at this point, it's too late for 21. I know people keep asking me about it. I think they should just save that for 22 at this point. Get people more excited about the next game because throwing that in there right now ain't gonna really do that much for people. That's it for today though. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. Make sure to subscribe, turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of the future videos, especially Madden 22 news. And as always, I will see you guys next time.